I just wanted to update you guys with a video that shows a couple of importation tricks. Um, Moving from Rhino to Revit as a CAD file leads to some sort of graphical errors, and if you just import it or link it straight as a CAD file, it won't necessarily be able to cut it. So if that's why you're having problems recreating your floor plans, then I would suggest either following that third method, which is to create a component model in place. So you get an architecture component model in place. And then you can do it as a generic model, or you can do it as a mass, because we're not using masses in this. This is essentially our massing model, so we can just make mass 1, call this Revit import, Rhino import. And then go ahead and go to insert and then link or import CAD. I'm just going to go to import CAD here and then go to full tower export. Everything should be okay. That seems kind of weird. I don't know why that's saying level -5. Yep, that is wrong. So we need to change this to level 0. And then I have pinned elements, select pinned elements off, so I can actually select this and move it if I need to. But let's just go ahead and pin this right now. If I were to go to, let's say, a level 10 plan, so this is a level 10 plan. This is not a level 10 plan, right? This is just going to the sort of top floor plan. I have to finish the mass first. This is fine. Let's see what the mass. So now this is working out, right? If you were to just import it as a regular CAD file, you wouldn't be able to necessarily see what's going on inside the building. So again, I'm just going to pin this, and that is the mass itself, not the file inside of the mass. And then you actually have a pretty good, ability to trace this or find new grid lines or whatever. It doesn't seem like you're able to change the view range to stop to see the stuff below. So what I recommend you do is just reference your floor plans for one, reference your elevations as well, but also you can go to your visibility graphics, and under your imported categories you can actually let's go to model categories, and because this was imported as a mass, I can override the cut lines to be heavier. So I'm just going to change this to a black color, and I'm going to give this a weight of like 8, for instance. And then I'm going to hit OK here. And if you exported as DWGs, then you sort of ignored this step. You've already exported as plans. But see, now you can see these heavier lines are essentially where the edge of my building is. It actually denotes where the interior spots are too. But this might help you if it wasn't modeled 100% correctly. And I know there's a bunch of different ways to do it, and Revit is sort of still spotty in terms of bringing Rhino files in successfully as geometries that can be cut. So if you're having troubles finding the exterior building, I would recommend re-importing your file inside of a component, and then changing the component's visibility style so you can see where the edges of the building are. Another thing I want to emphasize are scope boxes. So let's stay in this level 10 plan here, and I'm going to go to view, and there's this scope box thing. If you remember from last semester, it's actually a really nice way to organize your file into different sort of 3D chunks. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to click around basically within the edge of these grids, but not within the first sort of meeting of the grid lines. It doesn't have to be perfect. What this will allow you to do is, now if I go to an east elevation, let's see, it's around level 10. I need to make sure my scope boxes are on in here. So annotation categories, they are, let's go to an elevation, or sorry, a 3D view. And there you can see that scope box. I'm just going to pick it up to the top of the building. And I'm going to bring it down below about where the parking garage is. And so now if you have your site around here, and that's giving you a lot of difficulty loading in the file, Remember, you can always manage it on a work set, so whenever you load in the file, you can always go to whatever your work sets are being prompted to open. You can always say, well, I don't want to load the site because it's just too heavy. But another workaround is to create a scope box and sort of turn that on in the views that you don't need the site in, and that will also help you with your levels. So if you found that your levels were like way far out, it will also help you with your grids. All of these grid lines, so we can select all instances, can be associated with scope boxes. So I can say this is associated with scope box 1, and you can see that they all sort of go out to the edge. And if I manipulate this, you can see that they all sort of move out with it. So scope boxes are really powerful. You can create multiple different cuts of your building as well, and we'll probably utilize it later on in the semester. If you want to turn your scope box off, just remember that it's not going to go back to the default model per se. You need to turn this section box back off as well to be able to see the rest of the site. So I hope that helps with grids, and also with things like levels being like super far out or something like that. Just create a scope box. Make sure that this is on like a proper work set, like shared levels and grids. That will help as well, managing your file. So a final way to help you in terms of transferring your geometry from Rhino to Revit is to take this scope box, go ahead and turn it on, and then go ahead and immediately turn it off. That will turn the section box on. It should be cropped here, so if you tab over, you can see that there is actually a section box. So this is the scope box, right? If I tab over, I get to the section box, and I can manipulate this. And so that will actually allow you to move this down and see inside of your building, so that if you did want to go to like a 3D front view here, and we can see that I'm actually working on level 25, I can move it like this, and then I can just place walls or whatever I need to do on level 25 here. Let's just make sure this is height unconnected. Let's go to height. The top constraint will be to level 26. Just as an example, and we can place some walls here based on, let's see if we can snap here. Finish face exterior. Of course, this is sort of having problems snapping, so again, you can always use your align tool. AL is the shortcut, and you can align to this line with that. So now if we move and we turn off the section box, you can see that I just drew a wall there. So that might help you. It might help you for mechanical, it might help you for structural as well. And then you can actually turn it into like a wireframe or something. And if you turn it back on, this scope or the section box, let's try to get it here. You can actually pull it up from the bottom as well. And so you can actually just manipulate an individual sort of block. It's very similar to how we were manipulating clipping planes in Rhino. And that might help you, along your way if you're having difficulty in terms of translating something like grids onto Revit. You can literally just use this to trace.